Yu-Gi-Oh! An incredibly complex card game with tens of thousands of cards. However, what if each set was separated from the rest of the massive card pool and your choices when building a deck were extremely limited? In this series, in order to learn Yu-Gi-Oh! From the ground up, I will be embarking on an adventure through the history of the card game with Jeexx. In each episode, we will have access to all the cards in a select product, and using only the cards in that product, both of us will build a deck before playing a best of 3 match to determine the winner of the episode. We will move in a chronological order in the series, and with each new episode, we will forget the cards of the past in order to experience something brand new. We hope you enjoyed this adventure through Yu-Gi-Oh! And its evolution with us. Welcome to the historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning journey. What is up, ladies and fellas, and welcome back to Historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning journey, this time with Breakers of Shadow. Why was I stumbling across my words with the intro so much? And me realizing that for the past multiple episodes, I actually have forgotten to zoom in, so the set breakdown, while also already being quite pointless, I'm pretty sure y'all been struggling to actually see the cards, so my bad on that. But Breakers of Shadow, what we're doing today, and once again, like, I'll try to keep these brief. Performer pals are the big thing here, like the release of Monkey Board here, as well as having access to Skullcrobat from the recent released at this time, which we will do later, because as we established, we'll do Master Pendulum versus Pendulum Dominance, or whatever the DDD structure was called, like those against each other. But PePe is very close to full power at this point, so obviously that's very powerful. Super Heavy Samurai continues to get support, same thing with Blackwings, Melodious Divas as well. We have some ninjas here as well as Buster Blader getting quite a bit of support. Dynamists, are here as well as Ugama for Magic Spectre. Shiranu is also get release here. That's an archetype that I'm looking forward to playing sometime in the future. I really like Shiranui personally. Also, Dragon Slayers get a fusion and Dinister power, as well as some more Goyo stuff, I guess. But the big things here are the PePe stuff because of Skullcrobat and Monkey Board now being a thing, Shiranui, and what's his face? Buster Blader. Although I will say, like, one of those is definitely worse than the other. Solemn Strike, it's a reprint here as well, though, so we have access to the Solemn cards again. In Tin Can, you've heard Jeexx talk about it this extensively. Obviously, insanely good card. Cosmos once again continue getting more stuff, as well as Kaijus get stuff here, and Phoenix Rhino Warrior. Also, this is where Cyber Dragon Infinity gets released, but unfortunately there's not enough stuff to make a working Cyber Dragon deck here, so we'll have to wait for Infinity to peer its ugly head out sometime in the future. And at the very last slot, we have Trap Tricks Ref Leisure there. So if you want to throw that in your extra deck to have access to Trap Holes, that is obviously a thing you can do. Bottomless Trap Hole is still good. But with all that being said, though, that is the set breakdown, and I will see y'all in the deck building sections next.
Okay, so here we have Breaker of Shadow. Or is it Breakers of Shadow? I think it's Breakers of Shadow, actually. Let me double check. It's Breakers of Shadow. Confirm. Yeah. Breakers of Shadow gives us a massive power boost to certain strategies. If you've played Yu-Gi-Oh!, you probably know which one I'm talking about, because you're probably looking at it right now and thinking to yourself, wow, this is weird. Why is there only one Plush Fire? And I'm gonna be for real with you guys. I couldn't get Plush Fire to function in a consistent manner with the limitations that we had. And I also had to make some concessions because of the fact that I needed deck space. So I moved some stuff around. And yeah, this is what we kind of ended up. I kind of ended up with. So first up, we have two Kaijus. We have Dogoran and we have Gamma Seal being the best Kaiju. The reason why we have two of them in here is because we've Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, and Interrupted Kaiju Slumber is a dark hole, but for you also had to summon out two Kaijus at the end of it. And it's also, like, which means that I cannot activate it if I don't have two Kaijus. But there's also the thing where it lets me banish it from the graveyard to search another kaiju from my deck. So regardless of if I use it, I want to have 2 of these in the deck and 2 kaijus in my deck so I can use its search function or its destruction function depending on the situation of the game. But yeah. Then we have Damage Juggler, which is in here specifically for the search effect on Perform Mages for Hat Tricker and Trick Clown and Plush Fire. Hat Tricker is in here for a extender, pretty much. I summon it when I have, there's 2 or more monsters in the field. I make rank 4, I make Ignister. No, I can't make this because this requires Pendulum. Perform Mage Trick Clown is in here for extra rank 4 place. It's really solid for that. Tuning Magician is in here if I happen to run into a situation where I could actually make a Synchro, but I think I forgot to remove this from the deck, actually, because I was supposed to remove at least one of them. Well, anyway. Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer or Draco Slayer, is in here because this is one of the best possible Pendulum cards you could play. It allows you to pop your other scale, and then search a card with the same name, so you can basically use the effect of one of them, pop that, and then search another one, and then do whatever next turn, for example. And then we have Oath Dragon Magician, which is here as mostly filler, and in like very rare edge cases, it can be an extra scale that it has to. For example, if I happen to be playing like Skullcrow Bad Joker in one of the scales, or Wisdom Eye Magician in one of the scales, I can play Oath Dragon, and then I can easily summon out all the relevant cards again. It has the effect of if this card is normal summon a spell summon, you can target one Magician, a Pendulum monster, or an Odd Eyes monster in your graveyard, except Oath Dragon Magician, and add it to your hand. Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, you can reduce the battle damage you take from an attack involving a Pendulum monster control to 0 during your end phase. You can destroy this card and then add a Pendulum monster 1,500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. And then if this battle is a monster, your opponent takes double damage. This is going to be used for searching for Pendulum Sorcerer, Monkey Board, Plush Fire, Giturtle, Lizard Draw, pretty much everything I could ever want other than like Draco Slayer or Skullcrow or itself. Plush Fire, if you face a Perform Mage monster you control is destroyed by battle, spell summon this card from your Pendulum Zone, then take 500 damage. If this card in the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Perform Mage monster from your hand or deck, except Perform Mage Plush Fire. You can only use this effect of Plush Fire once per turn. So, here's the thing. This card used to not be once per turn. It used to allow you to summon an effectively unlimited number of Perform Mages as long as you got them out. And it also worked from your scale. So if you pop the scale, its monster effect triggers, you summon a Perform Mage from your deck. Then you a Pendulum Summon, you do it again. You pop this card again, and you get another Perform Mage out. And you do that, and you're filling your board out, and you get a lot of extenders, you get a lot of pops, you get a lot of good effects going. Really powerful card. I could totally have seen this working in like something like Millifos, because Millifos is a similar strategy, like a similar play pattern where they pop their own cards for effects. Like they said, Millifos spell traps directly from the deck and whatnot. These cards are something we're going to be seeing later, because I'm going to be playing these. This is the one Pendulum deck that I invested any time into building. Then we have Giturtle. If a Performer Pal card is activated in your other Pendulum Zone, you can draw one card. You can only use this effect of Performer Pal Giturtle once per turn. This is really good for draw. You basically go 1 for 1 when you play Pendulum Scale, which is kind of crazy. Like, I would feel like that's not something that you're not supposed to be getting as a Pendulum player, because you're already getting what is essentially an infinite amount of recursion at this time, but, you know. Then once per turn, you can draw one card in your Pendulum Zone, increase its scale by 2 until the end of this turn. Lizard Draw. If you have a Perform Pal in your other Pendulum Zone, Lizard Draw, you can destroy this card, and if you do, draw one card. Again, you're playing this card, you're using it for your Pendulum play, and then you pop it, and you draw a card. Why? What do you get to recur your resources, bro? And then its monster effect is relevant, but if another face-up card you control is used for battle by your opponent's attack or card effect, you can draw cards equal to the number of Perform Pal monsters you can currently control. That's not really relevant. Monkey Board, one of the biggest fucking pieces of shit for this deck. Unless you have a Performer Pal card in your other Pendulum Zone, this card's Pendulum Scale becomes 4. During your main phase, if this card was activated this turn, you can add a level 4 or lower Performer Pal monster from your deck to your hand. And you can only use this effect of Monkey Board once per turn. So you play this card, now you have scales. You immediately have your scales done. Sorry. Your scales are ready. You can play whatever you want. You search a lizard draw. You play lizard draw. You vomit out your entire hand, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna pop lizard draw. I'm gonna draw a card. Oh, that happens to be just a card that I need to extend my bullshit. I'm gonna normal summon this and fun, very fun, very consistent. Actually, it's like this deck at this time is one of the most consistent decks that I can think of. This version itself isn't exactly that consistent, but it worked. Perform Pal Pendulum Sorcerer. If a Perform Pal monster is a Pendulum summoned to your field, all Perform Pal monsters you currently control again 1000 attack, even if this card leaves the field. Then its actual relevant effect. If this card is special summoned, you can target up to 2 cards you control, destroy them, and if you do, add a Performer Pal monster with different names from your deck to your hand, except Performer Pal Pendulum Sorcerer, equal to the number of cards destroyed. Can only be used once per turn. You vomit out your hand, you pop your fucking plush fire, and you pop your useless scale, and now you get to add 2 cards, and then you also get a summon out. Now, let's say you had a plush fire in scale somehow. Now you get to summon out another card with the plush fire scale, like popping effect. Now you have 2 monsters from that, and you're searching 2 cards. A little over the top, I must say, but regardless, it's insane. Skullcrowbat Joker cannot pendulum some monsters except for Perform Pal, Magician, or Odd Eyes. Cannot be negated. When this card is normal summon, you can add a Perform Pal, Magician, a Perform Pal monster, Magician Pendulum monster, or Odd Eyes monster from your deck to your hand, except for Perform Pal, Skullcrowbat Joker. Normal summoning. This is like you normal summon this. You declare You're searching for Perform Pal. You search for Monkey Board. You play Monkey Board. You search Lizard Draw. You play Lizard Draw. You vomit your hand out again, and boom. You pop your thingies, and then you search 2 cards, and then you have a really good turn. Next turn as well. Like every single turn with this deck is the same turn, except like a little better, because you now have more cards on the field you can use for either popping shit or for extending. Wisdom Mine. If you have a Magician or Perform Pal card in your other Pendulum Zone, you can destroy this card, and if you do, place a Magician Pendulum monster from your deck in your Pendulum Zone, except Wisdom Mine Magician. You can discard this card and target one card in your Pendulum Zone whose current scale is different from its original scale. Its Pendulum scale becomes its original Pendulum scale until the end of this turn. I'm pretty sure I could use that for Monkey Board, but I'm not 100% clear on that, because it says it becomes 4, and it doesn't say it changes to 4. So this like would imply that the original scale is now 4. I'll have to figure that out at some point. Draco Face Off. This isn't here for the effect. Just what we're talking about. Sky Iris. Your opponent cannot target Magician, Perform Pal, or Odd Eyes cards in your Pendulum Zone with card effects. You can target one other face-up card you control and destroy it, and if you do, add an Odd Eyes monster from your deck to your hand. And that's basically we play this. We play Monkey Board. We do the stuff again, and then if we don't happen to have like Pendulum Sorcerer, we play Sky Iris. We pop our Monkey Board. Then we add a Odd Eyes. We play Odd Eyes into the scale, and at the end of the turn, we pop the Odd Eyes at the scale to search for example, Pendulum Sorcerer for next turn, because we've already had like some setup for next turn. Basically, this is, if I happen to have this, I can do different plays from what I can normally do. Like, for example, I can easily pop Plush Fire. Twin Twisters, the best spell and trap removal card that we have access to at the moment, like ignoring obviously the fact that we have access to Heavy Storm and Duster if we happen to have Heavy Storm or Harpies, Feather, or Duster in the set. But yeah, discard a card and destroy 2 spell traps on the field. Bottomless Trap Hole, Quaking Mirror Force. This is a new Mirror Force. When an opponent monster declares an attack, change all your opponent's attack position monster to your face down defense position. A monster change to face down defense position, while this effect cannot change their battle positions. So you know that card that won Worlds at one point? I think it was called Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. That thing has this effect as a quick effect. So this thing is pretty good. This thing is really powerful because you can just entirely lock your opponent up. Of course, against this deck, it doesn't really matter because I'm never going to attack with 5 monsters. I'm never going to have 5 monsters in attack position. And this thing just clears my board for me anyway. So, you know, just that. Solemn Strike. Another Solemn card, baby. When a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, pay 1,500 life points and negate the summon or activation. And if you do, destroy that card. Yippee! Yippee! Very good, very nice. So essentially, it can negate inherent summoning and it can negate monster effects. So it's fairly good. Another copy of Damage Juggler, another copy of Hat Tricker, another copy of Trick Clown, another copy of Draco Slayer, Oath Dragon, Plush Fire Lizard Draw, Wisdom Eye. These are just here in case I decide to be like, I'm gonna side out of one copy of Interrupt Kaiju Slumber, gonna side out of this thing, gonna side out one of the Kaijus, gonna side out some of the Go First cards and so on. Then some more Solemns, because I think having more of them for game 3 might be worth it. Assuming I lose game 2. Assuming I start the game. Beast Pendulum Dragon must be either fusion summon or special summon by tributing the above cards you control, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. If this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of the Beast type fusion monster used for this card's special summon. I think Monkey Board is a target, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's like I was thinking. Well, if I happen to end up in a situation where I can get a Monkey Board out, like using some weird bullshit with Skull Crobat Joker and like Oath Dragon, I can summon out Monkey Board and I can summon out Odd Eyes, and I can maybe be doing some plays with this. Then the actual cards, Dinosaur Power, the Mighty Draco Slayer, requires a Draco Slayer Pendulum Monster and a Pendulum Monster, and must be special summoned from your extra deck by tributing the above cards, so it's a contact fusion. And then this Pendulum Monster cards in your monster zones and Pendulum zones cannot be destroyed by a battle or your opponent's card effects. Once per turn, you can special summon one Draco Slayer Pendulum Monster from your hand or graveyard, but it cannot be used as fusion material. Then we have Ignis for Prominence. Once per turn, you can target one Pendulum Monster on the field or one card in the Pendulum Zone, destroy it, and if you do, shuffle one card on the field in the deck. So this targets a little bit of kayfabe break here. We're going to talk about this later in the episode. This targets any card in any Pendulum Monster and any card in a Pendulum Zone. So I can shuffle my opponent's Pendulum cards out, or like destroy them and then shuffle a card on their field, so I can make them go for -2 essentially. Once per turn, you can spell summon one Draco Slayer from your deck in defense position. That's probably this is definitely the best one out of these, and I'm going to talk about the third one as well. 2 level 4 Pendulum Monsters. When this card is XYZ summoned, you can add a Pendulum Monster from your deck to your hand during the end phase of this turn. Once per turn, you can attach a material from this card and spell summon one face-up Draco Slayer Pendulum Monster from your extra deck, but it cannot be used as material for an XYZ summon. This is the weakest one, I'd say. This is probably like, this is just good enough where you want to play it. This is obviously like really strong, really oppressive against other Pendulum decks. And this thing is just kind of, I make this if I can't make anything else. Because I obviously probably won't be having Luster Pendulum in my fucking in my extra deck at that point in the game. So it kind of sucks. Then we have Dark Rebellion Dragon, Exiton Knight, Shark, Tachyon Galaxy, just in case I happen to have some plays I can make using these two. Lancelot, which gives us numbers, which is why we have numbers in this. Utopic Future, in case I happen to have like decent lines for like making Magister Paladin and making Trapeze Magician or Traptrix of Phrygia, and then we can go into Utopic Future and give like swing over shit that, or steal shit that I can't swing over. Tachyon Galaxy is also in here in case I happen to have a really funny line that I can use to negate shit on board and go ham. Trapeze Magician is back. Trapeze Magician is the thing that gives us. Oh, actually, I should probably explain what some of these cards do, because some of these are here like as a joke or just for filler, like Lancelot. Lancelot doesn't really matter, but it can attack your opponent directly if it has material, and if it inflicts battle damage, you can destroy your opponent's monster. And once per turn during either player's turn, when a spell trap or other monster effect is activated, you can detach one material to negate that activation. This is an Omni Negate rank 8 that has the ability to swing directly and also pop monsters when it attacks. Silver Chariot has never been this fucking powerful in any part of JoJo, by the way. It's kind of impressive. But yeah. Utopic Future has the effect of 2 XYZ monsters with the same name or same rank, and they cannot be numbers. This card's original rank is always treated as 1, so basically it's not it's an XYZ monster summoned using 2 XYZ monsters. Cannot be destroyed by battle, and neither player takes battle damage involving attacks involving this card. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled a monster, you can join that monster and until the end of the battle phase. If this face-up card on the field will be destroyed by a card effect, you can attach one material from this card instead. Trapeze Magician, never take damage less than this card's attack. Main phase 1, you can target one card in attack position, give it 2 attacks this turn, and if you do, destroy it at the end of the battle phase. And if this card gets destroyed, then you can summon a Perform Mage monster from your deck. Then we have Traptrix for Phrygia, which is the first bit of Traptrix support we've seen in quite some time. Two level 4 monsters unaffected by trap effects while it has material. Trap text monster you control, except trap text monster, trap text Rafflesia, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Your opponent cannot target trap text monsters you control, except trap text Rafflesia with card effects. Once per turn, quick effect, you can detach one material from this card and send one whole normal trap card that meets its activation conditions from your deck to the graveyard. This effect becomes the trap card's effect when that card is activated. That about does it. That was a fairly lengthy deck breakdown. It's about 20 minutes again. But I think this deck deserves it. Like, this deck definitely deserves a proper breakdown. It's a really powerful deck, and we might be seeing it again during the anniversary. I might be having another go at this with full power, but we'll see how that goes. Anyhow, good luck with the games.
And guys and gals, we are back, and here is what we're gonna be playing today. So, is it pretty? Absolutely not. But my reasoning was I have never played anything related to Buster Blader, and that and Shirano were the two things that I was contemplating between. And I figured like Shirano I'll probably play somewhere in the future. I was also thinking of Dynamist, but the backstory here is that this was supposed to be the precursor to the structure deck episode of Pendulum Evolution, whatever is the Odd Eye structure, versus Emperor of Darkness, I think the Monarch structure deck is called. And I really wanted to play Monarchs, so I was like, I mean, the deck is terrible, but I mean, it's the best I can come up with for Buster Blader, and I do want to give Buster Blader a shot. So that's why I ended up going with this. And then when we decided that we would instead not have a structure deck after this, I was just like, I'm never going to play Buster Blader anyway, so I'll just stick to it. So I will be honest, it's a pile of garbage, and given the time frame where it is for, and Jeexx most likely is here either playing Cosmo or PePe, this might be, like, in comparison, the single worst deck I've ever made in the series, but it's fine. Without further ado, let's go through the deck and talk about each card. We have 3 Buster Blader and 3 Buster Blader the Destruction Swordmaster. Buster Blader, they're both level 7s. And Buster Blader just gains attack for your opponent's dragons in their graveyard as well as their field. And the retrain becomes Buster Blader name on the field or graveyard. And if while Buster Blader is on the field, the retrain, a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effect inside the graveyard, you can equip it to Destruction Swordmaster, and you can send a card equipped to Destruction Swordmaster to the field to play all your opponent's monsters with the same type as that as that sent monster. So obviously this is what we need for our extra deck plays, and even like equipping it with some of the destruction swords that we'll cover in a little bit. It does stuff. The issue is getting it on the field. But what will help us alleviate that problem is Buster Whelp of Destruction Swordman. When normal summon, you can add a Destruction Sword card from your deck to your hand, except another Whelp, and that gives us our tuners, which we'll cover in a little bit. This is also a tuner, but we won't be using it for that most of the time. Because on the field, you contribute this card special summon Buster Blader from your hand or graveyard, which are our main way of getting Buster Blader on the field. And then if this card is in your graveyard and you control a Buster Blader, you can discard a Destruction Sword to special summon this card. So it just guarantees. We can also equip them from hand, which we'll see in just after this, which is what we're more likely to do. But we can still do, if Buster Blader stays on the field, we can use this to then get a tuner on the field. But you can only use one of these effects per turn, and more often than not, we definitely want to use this. So. But for the stuff that we will be adding to our hand, we have a single Wizard Buster Destruction Sword. And the Destruction Swords all share the same effect, where you can target a Buster Blader you control and equip it from this Destruction Sword from your hand or field to that target. And then when it's equipped, something happens. Wizard Buster, when this card is equipped to a monster, monsters in your opponent's graveyard can't activate their effects. And then also you can send this equip to the graveyard to target a Destruction Sword in your graveyard to add it to your hand, except for its own name. And then for Dragon Buster, which is the best one, same thing, you can equip it from your hand or field. And then while equipped, your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck at all. And then while this card is equipped to a monster, you can special summon the equipped this equipped card. And this is our best one because it obviously gives us the equip effect is the best thing. And while equipped, you can summon it out, which now gives you access to a tuner, so we can make level 8 synchro plays. Then we have Gardarla, the Mystery Dust Kaiju. The Kaiju effects don't matter. What matters is you can summon this from your hand to your opponent's side of the field by attributing one of their monsters, so whatever we can't get over, we can attribute for a Kaiju. And we have Gardarla to get access to Gameciel. And we're running 3 of Gameciel because it has the least amount of attack, and that's the one thing that you care about with Kaiju. So we can summon Gameciel and then run over it. And I guess like if your opponent controls a Kaiju monster, then you can special summon a Kaiju from your hand with a different name. So if Jeexx we attribute something of Jeexx with Gameciel, we can then special Gardarla and beat over Gameciel with this. As for our next step, we have a Destruction Swordsman Fusion, which is a fusion card. Fusion summon a Buster Blader fusion monster from your extra deck using a monster, sorry. I don't know why I'm stumbling across my words so much today. From your hand or either field as fusion material, and if this card is in your graveyard, you can send a card from your hand to the graveyard to add it back to your hand. Either field is important here. It's mostly there because you want your opponent's stuff to be dragons, and Dragon Destroys Swordsman just needs a dragon monster. So you're using your own Buster Blader and hopefully one of your opponent's dragon monsters. That's how we will do that without DNA Surgery. We'll cover a little bit later when we get to our extract. We have card mount the Destruction Swordsman. We target up to 3 monsters of the same type in your opponent's graveyard, banish them, and if you do, 1 Buster Blader monster or 1 Destruction Sword monster you control gains 500 attack and defense for each of those banished monsters until the end of this turn. But mostly it's here we can rip out Jeexx's stuff from his grave, but also like this can let our Buster Blader be absolutely massive. But obviously the original Buster Blader already gets that, so you don't really want to use this with that because you're just getting the same thing. But with the Destruction Swordmaster, it's neat. Most of this was here to fill out the quota of meeting a half-half split, I will be honest though. 3 Twin Twisters. Finally, we have gotten a card that's better than MST. Obviously, we won't have access to this like always as we do for MST. We'll see if we change the ruling to be like, okay, instead of always having access to MST, it's now always having access to Twin Twisters. I'll have to discuss that with Jeexx, but for now, this is just a strict upgrade. You discard a card and then you can target up to 2 spell traps on the field to destroy them. Interrupt the Kaiju Slumber. You literally pop the entire field for both players and spell summon 2 different Kaijus for in attack position, 1 to each player's fields, and they can change their battle position and must attack if able. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard to add a Kaiju monster from your deck to your hand. It's obviously neat. We get to blow up the board, then we summon Gameciel for Jeexx, Gardarla for ourselves, and then we can beat over Jeexx Gameciel, and then we can banish this from our grave to have access to an additional Gameciel in hand. It's very good. 2 copies of that. Then we have Destruction Sword Flash. If you control a fusion monster that lists Buster Blade as material, you banish all monsters your opponent controls. And when a card effect is activated, target a Buster Blade monster you control except doing damage. So you can banish this card from your graveyard to negate the effect and destroy the card. The banishing is obviously very good, but it needs us to have a Buster Blade fusion on the board, and it's a trap card, so it's a little bit finicky to use, which is why we only have 1. But the protection is also nice to have after. Quake and Mirror Force. When your opponent monster declares an attack, you change all your opponent's attack position monsters to face down defense position. And the monsters changed this way can change their battle positions. Also gives us access to the traditional Mirror Force, but it's neat with the fusion because fusion inflicts piercing damage. And also it clogs Jeexx's field, which I'm assuming he's going to be on a Pendulum archetype or Cosmo, which seem to summon a lot of stuff. So, but I think he's on PePe. So, Solemn Strike and gives us access to Solemn Warning and Solemn Judgment. Solemn Strike only affects monsters. Solemn Warning, anything related to a monster summon, and Solemn Judgment, just a non-negate for half your life points. Comments I already talked about, Mirror Force I already talked about. We have Bottomless Trap Hole here as well. Like I said, like 1 Reflection here to give us access to Bottomless Trap Hole, just very good. Also, some more trap holes. We have Void Trap Hole to negate summons of big stuff, and Deep Dive Trap Hole for anything that is big. Monkey Board also is a level 5, so if Jeexx ends up Pendulum summoning that, we get to banish it. And obviously banishing is good because we don't want stuff to end up in his extra deck. And then the Magician package here, which you're probably curious about. And as we've established at this point, the only way realistically we can get Buster Bladers on the board is the tribute effect of Buster Whelp. And we have no way of getting Buster Whelp to our hand if we just don't draw it. So the way to facilitate that is this small pendulum package with magicians that are between scales of 1, 2, and then 8. And obviously Buster Blade is 7, so the which one ever of those, and then the 8 gives us the summon. We don't care about it because we can equip other stuff from our hand, and Buster Whelp we want to be normal summoning anyway. So the other part doesn't matter. Hopefully we don't get disconnected. This would be a first of, I think, the learning journey where we get disconnected mid deck breakdown, but we are back. Dragon Pulsar and Dragon Pit are vanillas. We're never summoning them as monsters, so they don't matter. What matters is they give you a... If you have magicians in both of your pendulum zones, you get to, by discarding pendulum monster, you get to either pop a spell trap or a face-up monster. And they give you the good scales. So these are the good ones. And then just to have access to some more scales, I added to Time Gazer, which must be activated when you control no monsters. And if a pendulum monster you control battles, your opponent cannot activate trap cards until the end of the damage step. And then this scale becomes a 4 unless you have a magician or dice in your other scale. But we only have those as pendulums, so they don't matter. Then we have Timebreaker. Each time the first pendulum monster you control that would be destroyed by your opponent's card effects is destroyed, it will instead not be. And then when this card is pendulum summoned from the hand and no other cards are in the pendulum summoned at the same time, it becomes a 2800 beater. And then once per turn you can target a monster in the field, banish both, then discard from the field on the next time by phase. The effect might come up, but mostly it's here just because it's playable. And then Dharma Eye, Magician, it look cool. The effect, if whatever. You can reveal a pendulum monster in your hand and target a magician card in your pendulum zone, and the pendulum scale becomes the revealed monsters. Completely pointless. And then pendulum summon card is on the field, protects magician pendulum monster. It doesn't matter. It's literally here because I wanted another 2 scale, and I was like, okay, Dharma Eye looks cool. And I think it's also from, I think both of these are from the set, so either one was fine to give us access to magicians. As for the side deck, we have 2 more copies of Wizard Buster Destruction Sword. Then we have 3 Robot Buster Destruction Sword, which once again you can equip from your hand or field to a Buster Blader. And when equipped, the monster's face-up spell traps can't be activated. Or can't activate their effects, sorry. And then by sending this equipped card to the graveyard, the monster that was equipped gets 1000 attack. It's the worst, but if for whatever reason Jeexx is on some weird floodgates, then okay. This might work, but I don't think there really are many in the set, which is why all of these are in the side. Then we just have 2 more copies of Solemn Warning, 2 more copies of Solemn Strike, 3 Chaos Trap Hole, because if Jeexx is on a light or dark setup, then obviously this will do wonders. If he's on PePe, then obviously a lot of the good ones are darks, so Chaos Trap Hole works well. A 3rd copy of Void Trap Hole, a 3rd copy of Deep Dark Trap Hole, and then a single Ring of Destruction, just for the hell of it. As for the extra deck, a bunch of stuff that won't end up mattering, like Enlightenment Paladin, Crimson Blader, these do not matter. Same thing like Lancelot, Giant Grinder, these don't matter. The like Giant Grinder and Lancelot requires to have like 2 of our like fusions or synchros on board, which will never happen. Same thing with Tachyon Dragon. There was just not enough stuff that we could realistically summon. Rafflesia will never go into. It's here to give us access to Bottomless Trap Hole. Crimson Blader is fine. It locks your opponent from normal special summoning higher level monsters on their next turn, but it's pretty slow, and these cards share the same level for synchro summoning as Buster Dragon, which what we want to go for most of the time. And what Buster Dragon does is it has a big booty, and all monsters your opponent controls become dragons. Unfortunately, not their graveyard, but it's still fine. Once per turn, if you do not control a Buster Blader monster, you can target a Buster Blader in your graveyard and special summon it out. And once per your opponent's turn, you can target a Buster Blader monster you control and equip with 1 Destruction Sword monster from your graveyard. It's insane. It facilitates all of our plays. Like, this is the training wheels to our bicycle here. Like, Buster Dragon is what makes or breaks this deck. The obviously floodgate effect here, well, if you can call it a floodgate, facilitates our Buster Blader effects, and then it also gives us our Buster Bladers accessibly on the field, and it gives us access to our like actual lockdown and stun effects on our opponent's turn. Like equipping something like Dragon Buster on your opponent's turn means that then we have Buster Dragon, limiting them to obviously if they have synergies for specific types, they won't work unless they're specifically for dragons, and then we also prevent them from summoning from the extra deck. It's such a good piece of support for a bad archetype. It just does everything for the archetype, and if we can get the Buster Dragon, we might actually be able to do something. But what if we are winning the game? What we are winning the game with is Buster Blader Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. The fusion takes a Buster Blader and Dragon monster, which means more often than not it'll just be one of our swords. But in a perfect world, it would be one of Jeexx's monsters with Buster Dragon on the board, and must be fusion summoned, so it can't even be monster reborn or anything like that later. Can it attack directly and gains 1,000 attack and defense for each dragon monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard, so double the amount of the regular Buster Blader, and you change all of your opponent's dragon monsters to defense position, and they can't activate their effects, and if it attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. Basically, getting these two on the board is what wins us the game. The issue is actually pulling that off, and if we can't do that, which is much more likely because the deck is not very good and definitely not consistent, then we're not doing anything. But the fusion and the synchro together, like, they do a lot. So we'll just have to hope that we can get there. This is another long deck breakdown. I apologize. I feel like it's just all of these for me have been running so long lately. I'll try to be better, but this is one of those promises that I can't. This is one of those things that I can't promise to keep because, you know, I'm a yapper and I love talking. But with all that being said, though, I hope you enjoyed the deck breakdowns regardless, and I will see y'all in the dueling zone next. What is up, ladies and lads? Welcome back to History Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning Journey, this time with Breakers of Shadow, and with the little bit of a brief discussion that we had before starting this, and our preparations going into this set, it might be the single greatest dichotomy that we have thus far had in the series. So, do you want to repeat what we said before we started, Jeexx? So, like, basically, just for me, this deck is a remnant of I wanted to play this archetype at some point, and I figured like there will probably not be another time when I would want to play this. Initially, we were supposed to have Pendulum Evolution or Master of Pendulum. I always mix up those two. Whatever comes first.
Pendulum Evolution is the structure deck that got turned into a set.
So okay. Whatever is the
Master Pendulum's the next the structure
yeah.
deck.
Yeah, that versus Emperor of Darkness, I think, is the Monarch deck, and I really wanted to play that. So this was basically a justification. Well, this deck is horrible, but this is an archetype that I want to play anyways. And if and when I lose, then I at least get to play the deck that I really want to play out of those two. But we ended up moving that forward. I think we had the discussion it was still in the episode last time. Yeah. And now I was basically just then left with whatever I had done then, but I added a few cards, and now you can see I'm playing 52 cards, so this is awesome. Anyways, what about you, Jeexx?
I may have built this deck weeks prior to actually building this deck proper, and I may have spent 2 hours yesterday on my stream retooling the entire deck because I realized it's hot garbage, and I ended up making something that is arguably less hot garbage, but not quite not garbage. And I have spent probably at least 3 hours playtesting this, which is about 5 times as long as I usually do in building and testing. So
I did 2 test hands, both of them were dead. Also, I'm realizing I could
Fantastic.
have actually done 50 instead of 52, but it's whatever. We're just gonna roll with it. I do have
Yeah.
something prepared for us in case this is very short, because I literally, like, I was expecting this to be done in a few turns, and that was before knowing what Jeexx was playing. So, with
Yeah.
all that being
I'm
said,
gonna.
though, I would like to fire off, since I don't have any monsters, a Time Gazer Magician as my
Hell yeah.
right scale. I would
What a
like to
great card.
sit a back row and pass it back to you.
All right, standby main. I would like to activate Monkey Board. I would like to activate the effect of Monkey Board, saying during the main phase, if I activated this card this turn, I can add level 4 or lower Performer Pal monster from my deck to my hand.
Yep,
Is this okay?
go for it.
I
Is
I
it
would like to.
now? Give me a warning beforehand if I need to start making the or doing the
I
Infernity bits. Oh, whoa,
Skull
whoa,
Crobat,
whoa.
Joker.
You could have never seen that coming.
Normal summon Skull Crobat. Activate Skull Crobat if this is okay.
Go for it.
Solemn Star. Okay, I add to my hand a, a card. See, this is where this is funny because I got kind of unlucky. Slightly
Did you
unlucky.
draw the stuff that you wanted to add with this?
No, that would have been better. I'm gonna be honest.
Interesting.
Ah, this is not gonna go too great. It's a PePe Magician or Odd Eyes card, so I cannot add mages, which is kind of unfortunate because mages would be what I actually do want to add because mages are actually kind of pretty good for this moment. But anyhow, I would like to add to my hand. Can't use this, can I? Just because no summon? No, can I use that? Can I use that? I can use this, but I can't summon it because I suck at the video game and I got shafted. Lamau.
Yippee.
Well, guess I might as well add to my hand a Performer Pal Lizard Draw. And I would like to activate Lizard Draw as my right scale. And then
Yep.
I would like to activate the effect of Lizard Draw and destroy it and draw one card because I have another Performer Pal in my other thingamabob.
That is fine. Now I can just
Yippee.
give you a heads up that you can probably go ahead and whatever you feel like doing, you can go ahead and do that. So,
I attack for 1.8 thousand.
yep.
Yeah, and then I go phase 2. I activate Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon as my right scale, and I set 3, and I pass. And then at the end of my turn, I destroy Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon as a scale to add a pendulum monster with 1,500 or less to my hand. And I would like to add a I wish I could add Draco Slayer, the Luster Pendulum, because that would be pretty fucking good.
But it happens to have
Sorry.
1850. Dude,
18.
I think you're good, even if you can't add Luster Pendulum.
I would like to add Lizard Draw.
Lizard Draw numero dos. Seems
Pass.
pretty good. I will accept this. Sure. All right. Well, I would like to activate Dragon Pulse Magician as my left scale.
Hell yeah.
Then. Gee whiz.
You can summon from 2 to 6, 7. Yay. Yippee. I wish I could summon from 2 to 7.
There are many things in life that we wish for. Anyways, I would like to attempt a pendulum summon into 3 back row. Is that okay?
I mean, you have to summon the cards first before I can
Yes.
respond, and then we'll see what happens.
I would like to summon a single card, which is this Buster Blader, the Destruction Sword Master, from my hand.
Let's see, what does this say? This card, if a master your opponent controls his valid game as in the grave reading draw window, so this forward, yada. I would like to bottomless trap hole this Buster Blade of Destruction Sword Master.
I would like to attempt to Solemn Judgment your bottomless trap hole. by paying
That is
3,100.
okay. That is okay.
All right. Then I guess I could have also done that, but it doesn't matter. I'll equip from my hand Dragon Buster Destruction Sword to Buster Blader.
What does this say?
This is the one that prevents extra X summons.
I would like to negate its effect on activation and destroy.
Sure. It took me a little bit. It's like, wait, a monster effect, but I guess because it monster activates and then it activates itself as a card. So yeah.
Correct.
Sure. Then we'll simply go battle phase and attempt to walk over Joker.
Quaking Mirror Force. I shall put all of your monsters
Sure.
face down, and they cannot have their positions changed.
Yep. Then we'll go main 2, and that'll be all she wrote.
Yep. So, Sky Iris. I would like to pop my monkey board.
Yep.
To add to my hand an odd ice card, and you cannot target my scales with blah blah blah.
I can actually if they're performages.
I activate there's no Performage Pendulum monsters that I have in here other than Plushfire.
I was just gonna say, like, you're not playing Plushfire?
I'm playing one copy Plushfire because I can't use Plushfire for anything really.
Yeah.
So, I activate Monkey Board.
Yep,
I would like to add a... Oh my god, this time I'm gonna go for a Skull Crobat Joker! Oh my god! A normal summon, Skull Crobat Joker! Would you like to affect Vader?
I'm good.
I would like to add to my hand a Perfomapal Pendulum Sorcerer! Yippee! And then I activate Lizard Draw in my other scale. And now I would like to Pendulum Summon
2 to 5.
2 to 5. I'd like
for... Oh no, it's just Lizard Draw and...
Lizard Draw.
Yep.
Yippee! And then I would like to activate the effect of Pendulum Sorcerer to destroy up to 2 cards on my field. I would like to destroy Lizard Draw and my monkey board. Is this okay?
That is fine.
Yippee! And now I add to my hand Performapal monsters equal to the number of cards that I destroyed. I add Turtle and Monkey Board. And then I activate Turtle on the left. And I would like to pop Lizard Draw. Oh, it goes into the extra deck face up. And I draw 1 card.
Yep.
Yippee! Now I would like to go into making plays. I would like to overlay these 2 fuckers into a Magister Pendulum Ascending Draco Slayer.
Yep. So
activate its effect. I get to search at the end of the turn. Yes. And then I would like to set 1 card, and I would like to activate this Odd Ice Pendulum Dragon.
Yep.
And I am passing. At the end of the turn, I pop the Pendulum Dragon to search a 1,500 or less Pendulum monster from my deck, which will in this case be...
Also grab the other Pendulum. From
oh yeah, the other print. I get two searches. I will search for Dragon Slayer using Ascending, and I would like to search for a Wisdom Eye with the other.
Yes, sir.
It's your move.
Set 1 pass.
Okay. Twin Tracers. Discarding Wisdom Eye. Pop this and pop this. Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Now actually stand by main. I should pop the other one, but still. It's whatever. It's whatever.
If it makes you feel any better, I have equal amount of small and big scales.
Okay. Activate Monkey Board. Activate Guitar Tool effect. I draw 1 card.
Activate monkey board effect, search for a Performapal, and add it to my hand. A level 4 or lower, and I would like to add a Skullcrobat Joker. I would like to normal summon a Skullcrobat Joker and activate its effect to add to my hand a Performapal or Magician card. Just double checking that's Performapal or Magician. Yes. I would like to add a Wisdom Eye Magician to my hand. Just making sure. And then I would like to Pendulum Summon using... actually, do I want to do this first? I think it... set this thing. Yeah. I think this should work. Pendulum... Or, wait. Is it worth doing this first? Pop this shit, get another Odd Ice. I think so. No, I want to pop one of those and get a search later. Maybe. Pendulum Summon. Pendulum Sorcerer. Draco Slayer. I do not have any limitations for what I can summon. Now, I get to pop 2 cards on my side of the field, which will be the monkey board and the face down that I just put. And then I will search for another 2. It will be... this is Performapal. Just Performapal. Yeah, other than itself. They don't even have to have different names. I just searched for 2 Guitar Girl, and that is all she wrote. By the way, there are no more Performapals in my deck.
Good for you.
Yippee! Then I would like to overlay this Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer with Skullcrobat Joker to make a
Oh, yeah, what did you search the turtles with?
with Sorcerer. When I summoned it, I pop 2 and I get to add 2 different names. I can't even do that.
Yeah,
I can't pop 2 then. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
that's unfortunate. Then I
But
can
now
only
you
pop
can
1.
have another Performapal still in your deck. Yay.
Eevee. Wait, then I can't pop 2. I have to only pop 1. Yeah, that's annoying. Oh well. Oh well.
I think you're fine. I've gone
I would like
through
to make Trapeze Magician.
7 cards and you've gone through 24. I think you're fine.
Then synchro off the Sorcerer and Draco Slayer for a Ignister Prominence. I think you might have heard of this card at some point. It's pretty good.
Yeah, so I've
Yeah.
heard.
And then I target 1 Pendulum monster on the field and 1 card in the one card in the Pendulum Zone, destroyed. And if you do, shuffle 1 card on the field. Wait, I can target your stuff.
Yeah. The idea is that you can also pop your opponent's skills because it's good in against pendulums as well. And I'm assuming you would want to spin my
Yes, and then activate the effect of Trapeze Magician and Ignister Prominence can now swing twice.
Make this go a little faster. We can do this.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I have siding to do.
Go for it. You're gonna need it because my deck is so immensely powerful. So yeah,
I'm afraid.
But yeah, I'll pause the recording for a little bit. And we are back, and this is gonna be the sickest comeback of all time.
I trust.
One of the
never doubt it.
10 tier 0 decks in the game Sliceman versus Buster Blader. Yo, my head is gas.
Maybe if you get the dragon out. If you just pass right now, I will cry.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
At least I get to, summon out a
fusion summon one. Wow.
Yeah. So I would like to at least, get one of my monsters from the extra deck out. So
yep.
We're just gonna do this. We're gonna set a card and yeah. Back to you, gamer.
Stand by main. Tutel!
Yippee! Thank you for
Tutel! I love to tell.
If there's ever
Um,
gonna be like something at the pearly gates
mhm.
in heaven pointing you to like, do you think you're getting in here? They're gonna point to this game, I think. Like I think
No, no,
they're
no, no,
they're
no.
gonna point to this. And you're like, my brother in Christ. What are we doing? Gamma your opponents. Uh, Buster Blader fusion when you're playing PePe.
I
This is what they're gonna
mean,
show you.
I don't. I actually, can I do this the other way around? I activate Guitar Tool first, and then draw one with that, and then I activate Monkey Board, and I search
Sure.
for.
I was gonna say I'm gonna be very surprised if negating if negating Skullcrobat is all it takes to stop Pepe from doing stuff. I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
that would have been very good.
that would have been quite impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
But hey, at least
Um,
I got to go into my extra deck.
yeah, you got plays going.
Not like it does
Hell
anything
yeah.
without the dragon other than do piercing damage, but hey.
Let me see. I kind of just wanna have a setup for next turn
How
instead
about,
of.
aren't you afraid of me with Gameciel on my
Oops, not
board
set
and
up.
then two cards in my hand that I'm gonna pop off?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna set one, and then I'm gonna pendulum summon.
Go for it.
Summoning Sork and Draco Slayer,
Mm-hmm.
activating Sork effect to pop my face down and my monkey board, and searching two,
Mm-hmm.
searching for
Skull Crobat and Monkey
four
Board?
monkey board and Skull Crobat
Who
Joker.
could
How
have
do you,
seen this coming?
how did you know?
I don't know.
That's
I mean, I'm just a genius when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh. As you can see
that's
from my deck.
kind of impressive. That's kind of surprising, actually. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Then maybe we check what this thing does again. Yeah, I mean that thing's pretty good. I should probably consider using that. This thing is also pretty good. I should probably consider using that. That's also special summoned. That's also also kind of with that regard. I would like to synchro off these two for a Ignister prominence.
Yep.
And then I would like to activate the effect of. No, do I want? I mean, I get to use my Gamma Seal again
Yeah, you get it back
if I
into
do
your deck,
that.
but you can also just walk over it and still be
Yeah,
up
I don't.
in the card advantage. So I
Yeah, I
don't
think
think
I'll
it's
just.
worth it. So yeah, I will take
There's also the fact
650.
that uh, Guitar Troll is a card that like ramps me. Like it will give me a more card advantage as the game goes on, as long as it's on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would also just like to pass.
Yep. So I know Skull Crobat and Monkey Board. I do not know the last card in your hand, correct?
Do you not?
Do
I'm
I?
pretty sure you know what it is. I added it with Monkey Board. It's Laser Draw.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be
I
honest. The last game I was doing my Infernity memes, but this game I have just not been paying attention. So,
no,
mm, that's a
I
mana
am
first, I
playing.
guess. Sure, we'll just fire off this and pass.
Okay.
If you do not kill me, then I'll be very
Uh,
impressed.
Skull Crobat,
Yep.
normal that, add a Magician or a Performer Pal, add Pendulum Sword. I'm gonna activate Lizard Draw, activating Guitar Drill effect to draw one,
Yep.
and popping Lizard Draw to draw a second one. Then I'm going to activate Monkey Board to search for another Performer Pal. I would like to search for Lizard Draw. Then I would like to Pendulum Summon, Pendulum Sorcerer, and from my extra deck, I would like to also Pendulum Summon Luster Pendulum, and I would like to also summon out a Lizard Draw from my extra deck. And then I would like to pop the Monkey board and the Lizard. Oh, that went the wrong place. The Lizard Draw. Then adding 2 cards to my hand, Skullcrow Bat and Monkey board.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna. It's fucking over. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I mean,
overlay these two.
there is literally you
Yeah,
couldn't
they're
just swing with everything, and
I
that would just be that.
yeah. Yeah, I would make this next and give prominence 2 swings and swing for that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So that
Swing
was
with.
a lot of fun and really interesting, don't you
Yeah.
think?
That was really exciting, guys. Main phase 2, I activate Odd Eyes. I set 1, that's Quaking. And then end phase, I pop Odd Eyes and I add another Pendulum card. And this time I would probably add a. No, probably just add Pendulum Sork. Yeah. Oh, Guitarto. Guitarto. This is yeah. This deck is pretty much probably the strongest deck I've played, like as a core of a deck.
I mean, it is
Obviously, I
like
don't have the
top
whole
5
deck.
strongest decks of all
Yeah.
time in the
Yeah.
history of the game overall.
At the moment, if this deck was completely legal, like it almost is, ignoring Plushfire being errata now. Wait, actually, yeah, Plushfire is errata. Yeah, I forgot about that. I wasn't even playing, like, I didn't get to play it once, but I most likely would have played it wrong, because it's now errata to be a hard once per turn. So that's very important. But yeah, this deck doesn't have as much explosive power in today's like Yu-Gi-Oh, considering that like the majority of the good cards that exist in this deck are no longer as good because there's cards that are better. But at the time when this deck came out, it is very much the strongest deck in the game in comparison to the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Like Teledad is a really strong deck that dominated really hard, but that deck could brick.
I was just gonna.
This
I was gonna say, like, it's very comparable to when basically every deck in the format was a form of Dark Arm Dragon, and then there was a bunch of different ruler forms. There was like obviously very like the first like proper tier 0 meta chaos. Every deck was basically just, I think there was like a beast beatdown deck, but basically apart from that, I think that also probably played chaos, but like almost every deck was just a variant of chaos. It's like kind of with that where it's like every deck is playing at least the good like stuff like Skull Acrobat and Monkey Board, but just pure PePe was the best thing because it's just so insanely consistent.
Yeah, like this fucking creature and this fucking creature and this fucking creature. They're just insane. Like Skullcrow Bat, Pendulum Sorcerer, and Monkey Board just make this deck work infinitely. Like there is no point where I go like I'm out of gas outside of after having like spent 3 to 4 turns going through my entire deck and just not having drawn into my like good stuff that's in there, just getting into my Performer Pals. And now I'm gonna start drawing into my good stuff with Lizard Draw, with Turtle, and just hopefully taking the game with that. Like this, it's filthy. This deck is filthy. I feel filthy for playing this. Also, I was playing Lancelot for numbers, and I was playing Shark as a number, and I was also playing Utopic Future as a number, which was another line that I was hoping to maybe go into. Using like Raphilia, Exiton Knight, and Dark Rebellion Dragon. And then obviously, as a spicy choice, I put in Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon because I've wondered if Galaxy Eyes could maybe pull some bullshit off.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, those are Jeexx play. Also, the 2 times that I said that I just got an unplayable hand, at least both of those times I got Buster Whelp in my opening hand, and now I just didn't see it. But yeah, those are Jeexx's plays. My plays are basically summon this thing, search this thing, tribute this thing to summon out Buster Blader from your hand, and then you can equip this thing to it. You can special summon it. Then you can use these two to go into this damn thing, which you can then
Dragon.
use to special summon out Buster Blader, and that's your insane power play.
And then you equip the thing that makes it so all of your like there was a card I think later on, or is it already out? But one that makes it so that dragons can't do shit. That isn't like the fusion, because I think the fusion is
Yeah, no,
is a
that's
little
it.
too clunky.
Yeah, I think that's it. I actually, is it the link? Because for now it's the like there's one that prevents face-off spell traps. There's one that prevents extra deck summoning, which is obviously the best one. And then there's this one which monsters in your opponent's graveyard can't activate their effects.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to see if Buster Blader ever had even any relevance, and the only discussion I could see was Duel Links related. So that's pretty funny.
Sounds about right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's really funny to have like for the time period, like this was probably like when obviously this deck is better than something that I played in episode 4 of this series. But
Yeah.
considering the time period, like this is to that time period probably like one of the single worst decks I've ever played in this series, and your deck was probably
The complete opposite of them.
yeah.
I
I
would
was gonna
say
say
that this
like
is
maybe the best deck we've seen for the time, but it's like we did play the dad stuff, but it's just like with how the rules have changed and what came out in the set, like I feel like it was like easier for you to get like almost the whole package
yeah.
what you want. So
Like even considering that
maybe
even
Dragon
like the
Rulers.
anniversary, I think the anniversary episode where I played Dad, I didn't feel like Dad was as
Yeah.
good as this is. But to be fair, I was playing 60 card Diamond Dude Turbo Dad with Airblade in it as well. Like it
Yeah.
was just intended to be like not the best version could be, but
I think
yeah,
the
the
only thing that could be in contention was when I played Dragon Rulers when they came out, because obviously like the like 7 stars to draw a spell also came in there. We also got Dracosack and Big Eye in that set, so there was like most of the stuff like we didn't have super rejuvenation, which would have been like
yeah.
insane, but like apart from that almost everything was there. So I think like that's the only thing that's maybe comparable.
But yeah, considering that Dragon Ruler wasn't around anymore when the good dragon support comes out. But like, if you could have had the good dragon support in there as well, which you can, if you play Dragon Rulers for the anniversary episode, it's gonna be fucking hilarious. It's playing full power Dragon Rulers in a format where Dragon Rulers are still relevant with all the good stuff that dragons got after Dragon Rulers got bad. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be
Yep.
terrifying. But like, yeah, I would say the Dragon Ruler spell books with Judgment, Teledad, uh, PePe. What is it? What would be the fifth one that we've like? I'm gonna list off like the strongest decks that we've seen, and those are 4 out of 5. Because I think there's a fifth one,
I don't even
but
think for us it would be chaos because we never had
no.
Emperor Dragon do anything. It was
Yeah,
like Bialas obviously was insane, but it was like even like for the like compared to everything else, like I don't still it's still anywhere comparable to the other stuff that you've talked about.
yeah. Because like
Would there ever be
we
a fifth one?
chaos. I mean, there has to be a fifth one, obviously, because there's so many episodes, and obviously, if we count these 4 decks, then also have appeared multiple times technically.
Well, then
There's
probably the
fifth deck.
Venom one. I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. The power level on that match was insane. uh, I was going ham. No,
Yeah,
but
no, I literally I
uh,
can't think of anything. Just top of my head.
mm, I mean, I was thinking like there was the one episode where the first OTK that we had essentially, which was Teledad. Well,
Yep.
not even Teledad. It was just Dark Arm Dragon with Dark Ceiling. With
Yep.
Calculator beatdown.
There was the
Um,
plan. You had your Giga Plan thing. Maybe that can be
yeah.
the honorary fifth member. Just
I
because we
mean,
can't think
considering
of
that
anything
that's
else.
I mean, I would have to say that I would argue that certain variants of heroes have had a lot of success in this series, but that's because they just come in like specific sets. For example, like the Hero Strike structure deck, like the format, quote unquote, like quote unquote format that we played that deck versus like Synchron Extreme in, it was just it was
Yeah, I mean
unbeatable
the yeah, I mean if we're considering
in that
like the
context.
matchups, then there are some. There was also the like was it Rise of the
Emperor,
Dragon Lords
yeah.
versus a banished deck. So those I'm more like thinking like uh for the time period considering our. I guess I wasn't like considering in like structure deck episodes and the like specific matchup. I was just considering like how rules have changed and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean if you consider the matchups, then yes, Hero Strike versus uh Synchron Extreme or Rise of the Dragon Lords versus I think the first Monarch deck. No, it
Yeah,
was
the first
Zombie.
Monarch deck.
Was it? Wait, was
No,
it
no,
the
no.
first Monarch deck or Zombie?
Yeah, it was the first Monarch because you summoned Kaius when I got Felgrand out, and I just like, yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. But yeah, like
I
but
got
yeah, in
fucked.
that case, yeah, you can take either of those. It was basically an unplayable matchup.
There's also fuck, I just forgot. When I played Synchro,
Mm-hmm.
I think fifth deck would be Plant Synchro
I
or Black Wings.
I
Like
guess
ignoring even the format. Like I think either of those two would be it.
I'm taking banging.
Yeah. Like I summoned Quasar.
Yep.
Like all things considered, I summoned Quasar. That's kind of a big testament.
Yep.
Oh, actually, mm, would it be Shadow? Klee and Shadow. I think either of those would be
I
the
don't
fifth one.
I don't know because like there because that's the thing like there was Shadow but there was also Klee but like uh Tellers will also I think good. I think that was like the like basically the standard was really high. So even like Shadow was probably the best thing. Is like is it so much better than everything else when you compare, for example, like Pepe to Buster Plater is like
See,
what I'm
Shadow
thinking.
was essentially an engine you could put into a deck
Yep.
while playing something else. Or you could put an engine into Shadow and it works. But putting an engine into Klee did not work, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like Shadow was a more versatile deck. It was comparable to like I guess I would say Dragon Rulers. Like it had certain aspects to it. Like it wasn't as dominant, obviously, because well, first off, Dragon Rulers are arguably even still the better deck. But Shadows had things that made them good to slot into a lot of other decks, and that would I'd argue make them better than 90% of the decks that we played so far. Because most of the decks that we played have been like, I have to go all in on my Buster Bladers or I lose. Like you had pendulums in here. You also had kaiju's in here, and you had a lot of traps and whatnot. But like, I technically didn't have to go all in on any one archetype. I went all in on a play style, and I could pick and choose cards from each of the like different archetypes that fit that play style,
Mm-hmm.
and slot them in and get a good deck from it. But you had to play like 60% to 80% Buster Blader cards for your Buster Blader deck to work. It's like the argument versus like the amount of non-engine that you could have versus the amount of engine that you could have. That thing. That's a more relevant thing later on in Yu-Gi-Oh. But I think Shadows you could have played a bunch of non-engine in Shadows and have it work,
Yeah, that's
and it
fair.
could even be beneficial.
'Cause for the most part, like that's also what's like different about in general. It's definitely changed more with modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And there are obviously exceptions, but like that's what's very different when you compare like a lot of like pendulums and links to all other like means of summonings. Where usually like fusion synchros and Xyz has some like toolboxy natures, but when you're looking at archetypes, usually stuff like that is like revolves around okay, you're doing this one thing, unless you're DDD when it's like okay, everything
Yeah,
we do
everything
everything, but it's
and the
like
kitchen sink.
but like a lot of pendulums obviously like they're just good, they support pendulum stuff, and links have well I feel like links are more just like when they started making extra overall just more toolboxy, so I don't know if it's
Yeah.
necessarily like links themselves or the change in general like when it came to the extra deck and the like what they wanted to do with the extra deck. What like I think the nightmares are probably the easiest example where they're just generic and you can just always slap a Nightmare Phoenix in your extra deck and you won't feel too bad about it because you'll then just have access to a spell trap pop if you need it.
I do think that XYZs were the start of that with cards like Castell and Shark, for example. And obviously, like, there's also Exiton Knight and Rafflesia and arguably even Dark Rebellion Dragon. All three cards that you could essentially slot into any deck generically and get use out of with Rafflesia, a good use out of cards that you were obviously already gonna be playing at the time, because Bottomless is still a really good card. Traptrix Nightmare Trapple is still a really good card, and there's gonna be a couple more, but like arguably like these Rafflesia, uh, Rafflesia and Exton Knight would probably be in every deck as long as they were legal at this time. I think Exton Knight was already banned and was still going to be banned for a few more years, but yeah. And Shark, obviously, if you're playing level fours and you can get 2 out, it's a problem solver. It hits the board. You lose whatever thing you have with the gazillion protections. Can't be destroyed. Can't be banished. Cannot be sent to the graveyard. Yeah, yoink. Gonna break the rules real quick. It's too good, and I think a lot of links follow that same like design formula as you were saying. Like I think well, not a lot, really, but like nightmares, especially as you said, they're like the most egregious example of making generic cards into your like for your extra deck that are solely there for. I need a filler card that does something that isn't like a playmaker, and then you put a Nightmare Phoenix.
Yep.
Or you put a fucking Nightmare Goblin, and then you have a playmaker. You put a Nightmare Mermaid in, and you suddenly have a fucking full combo.
Keep that ass banned.
Bastard.
But yeah, I don't have much else to say here other than can we just acknowledge the fact that the plays that I did were literally summon Buster Blader who got bottomless and I had to pay basically half my life points just to not have him bottomless, and then he went and flipped up anyway. And then I summoned the Fusion Buster Blader who immediately got sat up by a turtle, and that is literally like that's the recap of everything I did in this duel.
Like this episode is 60% me just going I use monkey board, I activate monkey board, I search with monkey board, I pendulum summon, I activate pentork, I pop this and this, I search monkey board, and I search Skullcrobat, I summon pendulum Draco Slayer pendulum thing, I search in Nenface, I search for this, boom, turn, and then you do things, you didn't do anything, I take turn and then I kill. And then game 2 was essentially, I'm gonna play through my entire deck and summon multiple Draco Slayers. That's it.
If
By the way, I've never played the Fusion or the XYZ ever, but the Fusion not being like I thought I needed to fuse this always. I've never read this card in my life. It's a fucking contact fusion.
I
What
mean,
the fuck?
I mean, it would feel really weird if you had to put polymerization for one card in here. So
Yeah.
I guess that was why
I
it makes
mean,
sense.
yeah, but like this card isn't very balanced. Like if you, oh my god, I think this thing is insane. I think all three of these are super good, like
Yeah.
legitimately speaking.
Uh,
Especially Ignister.
I was just gonna say I think Ignister is still definitely the best one.
Yeah, like removal, recycling essentially. Like you can also recycle your own cards. You don't just need to like recycle your opponent's card or spin opponent's cards. You can spin your own face downs after breaking, for example, if you want to do something like that.
Yeah,
Can be kind of useful. And
I think it's like the thing about it is too like how you are even like surprised that you can pop your opponent's pendulum to activate this spin, which is even without that, like it's still really good. But the fact that in pendulum matchups you can actually pop your opponent thing to essentially pay for the cost of you using the spin effect then is pretty damn good. But before I forget, like what Jeexx was earlier talking about, like what I did versus what he did, this is in this episode is essentially like if you want to know how it is when we play Magic with friends, like what Jeexx did here is Nipa's turn, and what I did here is my turn, which essentially, oh yeah, let me turn my 10 mana sideways, summon 2 big dragons, and then pass the turn, and then I'll be browsing TikTok for 20 minutes while the dude combos off on his turn. That's essentially how our Magic games are. EDH, let's play 1v1 Magic. I've retired. I played a round of Cube Draft Not to brag, won that shit, and now I'm
Oh.
retired from offline Magic forever, so I can say that offline Magic 1v1s, I'm undefeated.
Based. I do want to add, when I was playing EDH, Yuto and I built a deck that was purely intended to wait until we have 8 mana, and then we turn 8 mana sideways and we play a big
Cascade,
card,
baby.
and it just like goes through all my deck and it hits a card and like boom. I didn't want Soul Ring. Okay, I do it again, and then Gilded Lotus, and I have 0 cards in hand, and I'm crying.
What?
Fun.
Gamba. We love a
Love
Gamba
that
with
card.
wondering something. Wondering. It was
Wandering Maelstrom.
Maelstrom, yeah. I
That's
remember
the
it
coolest
was
card.
a cascading 7/5 stat line that was an elemental. That's what I remember. But yeah, wondering Maelstrom.
Cascade, and has haste for all creatures.
Yeah.
Cost 8. And it's
But
Temur colors. Okay.
anything you want to still say about the sets?
We're gonna be seeing some of these fuckers a lot in the future, as long as they're present somehow. Specifically this guy. If I can get this guy in my Meliphos deck, we're gonna be playing Meliphos 100%. 0 down.
Can't
Can't
wait
wait.
for the anniversary episode at Jeexx is gonna be playing PePe again. Yippee!
Hey, it's gonna be full power PePe. Not that it wasn't full power PePe, but it's gonna be full power PePe. With pot of greed.
Yippee! I'm still wondering what we'll do with the band cards. Like, do I want the old band cards, or would it be more interesting to have some other stuff? But we still have a bit over a month for that, so we'll still figure that out. Also figure out like whether it's 3 decks or something else. But I don't want it to be fucking 6 hours long is the issue. So we'll think about it. For now, I'm leaning towards 3 decks again, but we shall see.